What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Twisted Bud E3 prediction show. I am here with a whole bunch of people. Some people you know, some people you don't, but you don't know any of us, do you? Alistair, say hi.
Hello.
Rob from America. New Rob from America. Your first recording with us. Say hello.
Hello.
Sam, say hello.
Hello.
UK Rob. I don't care.
Hi.
Oh, there you go.
I'm here.
This is our E3 prediction video. We are going to be running through what we think is going to be happening at all of the major conferences. This video is all about Sony, so each of us have 3 predictions that we think are going to be announced on the Sony stage next week when E3 happens. Alistair, go for it. Give us your first prediction.
Well, I thought Sony's going to be all about the VR in E3. I mean, they're getting right into it, and I thought they're going to try and link it to some of their new games. And I've taken a stab in the dark, and I said they're going to try and bring some VR component to Uncharted Lost Legacy, which I think would be quite cool, but I'm still unsure about how they do it.
So that's the Uncharted game that's coming out, the kind of expansion that's coming out this
Yeah, I think it's a standalone game, they've said it was.
And you think there'll be some kind of VR component, like a little, do you think some kind of little extra thing, or you could play the whole thing in VR?
I think there'll be like a little extra thing, maybe like a separate VR kind of, because they did something similar with Until Dawn, and I think they might do something very similar with the Uncharted.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see one of their really big first parties try and do something like that. All right, okay. Rob, US, which is what we're going to be calling you. What's your first prediction for the Sony conference?
Well, I agree with the PSVR being something that's going to be talked about a lot. I think, honestly, that they're going to go for making a new redesign for the whole thing. Maybe even like a lighter, more lightweight headpiece that you can wear. Hopefully, if they can get some sort of like wireless component, that would be great. But mainly just something that's lightweight, more breathable, more mainline stream.
Okay. So is this like PSVR 2 or not quite that much of a step, just a reimagining of, or just a bit of a change to the original?
I would say more of a reimagining. Not so much like a great overhaul.
It's not like the next one. Okay.
So so it would be the difference between the PS2 and the PS2 Slim sort of thing.
Yes, correct.
That sort of a transition. I mean, for me, I'm not sure if that would happen, because from what I hear, and I don't know, because I don't have a huge amount. I haven't played on the VR a huge amount, but from what I hear, isn't PlayStation 4 like the comfortable out of all 3? That's what I hear.
I've heard it's the most comfortable. I think the main problem that they're having is that it doesn't really breathe well. So you sweat in it pretty badly.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough.
There you go.
All right. Sam, you are an expert in all things PlayStation. What do you think's coming up?
Well, that's a great joke. Mine's also to do with VR, actually, and also to do with a VR redesign, in that they're going to make new VR sort of sensors that you can attach to your body, but especially to your belly button. Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. Now you're actually going to be able to play video games with your belly button. Only on PlayStation.
I mean, like, where have you been? Where have you been for the past 20 years? I mean, this needed.
These are the kind of innovators that we need.
This is the thing that I've been sitting there. I remember playing through The Witcher 3, sitting there going, "Where the fuck is my belly button peripheral?" Because
But it's not just limited to action games. I think it could really excel in RTSs as well. I think there's definitely room in the market for a belly button VR sensor, and I think, Sony's very innovative, so they're going to go there. That's my prediction for Sony's VR stuff.
Well, your prediction is you're right. Glad to hear it. Rob, UK, what are you thinking?
Oh, okie dokie. So what I'm thinking is, I think that a Naughty Dog, who have obviously been quite quiet, and obviously I know they're working on the new Uncharted stuff, but they have to be working on something. So I think they're going to come out with like a new IP, and I'm saying it's going to be a set in space.
Space.
So you don't think they're working on The Last of Us Part 2 that was announced last year?
Probably working. I mean, I think a lot of fans would be quite upset if they weren't. They just said nah, actually. Like, change their minds.
You know what? We've changed our mind. We heard this prediction show, and some guy said something about space, and you know what?
Yeah, and that got us thinking. And yeah, space. Even though we only heard this last week, space. So then they just show some footage of space. And there you go.
It's
Okay.
actually just a
Prediction.
movie screening of Apollo 13.
So you're expecting kind of Sony logo, Naughty Dog logo, and then
In space.
some kind of space. All right. Well, it's brave, and I respect you for that.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, so my first prediction is that we will see Red Dead Redemption gameplay on the Sony stage. So there were rumors at, I think, was it PSX, that we were going to see Red Dead, and that was pulled. So I think that will be the first place that we see it. Now, Rockstar don't normally bother with E3 because they don't need to. They're Rockstar, but I don't think Red Dead has the same cachet as a GTA. So I think they
it
want.
does.
I think they. Yeah, I don't know.
It
I think
does, doesn't it? Come
no,
on.
no one's. Yeah, but there's been one Red Dead game that anyone's given a shit about.
Red Dead Rockstar
There's been one
don't
game.
need to go to E3 because their games fly off the shelf anyway. Like, they don't need to be there.
Yeah, I know, but I think they will be.
Yeah, I think it'll be a little teaser.
I don't know. I just feel like there's been one good Red Dead game, and that was how many years ago? 5 years ago.
Mhm.
It can't hurt to get it. You know, I know the world went crazy when they just released like 3 images. So
Yeah.
you're probably right, but I had to say something.
Yeah, it's
God
Rockstar's
damn, I'm right.
I had to say
Rockstar's
something.
foreplay. Just a little tease.
Okay, so that's everybody. Alistair, back to you.
I'm predicting Bloodborne 2 gets announced, a sequel to the very successful Bloodborne. I mean, a lot of people enjoyed it, and there was quite a big outcry for we want another, give us another, please. So I feel the Sony are going to cave, and they are going to give the people what they want.
It's a terrible
I
thing when they do
wonder
that.
if they'd be able to fit VR into that sort of Bloodborne Soulsy games. Do you think like that could work at all?
No, I think they'll be sick
Yeah, that-
everywhere.
It would be. I mean,
Can you
they
imagine
just
though, like eventually if you fixed VR with motion controls, just like pretending to swing a massive sword around.
Well, if
We pray
Rob-
that one day we get there.
if Rob from the US is right, and the fact it is like a sweat build up in the PlayStation VR makes it harder to play it, I'm not sure.
Big part of the Bloodborne experience is crying. Yeah, I never finished the first one, but I did enjoy, trying. So that would be pretty good. Rob US, second one.
My prediction is going to be that we're going to see a trailer for Hellblade.
Can you tell me what Hellblade is? Because I haven't got a clue.
Alright, well, Hellblade is going to be a game that's set with a female character. I believe she's Viking, and she kind of goes through her own sense of like PTSD, where her entire tribe dies and she's the sole survivor. And then what it's going to be is it's going to be basically how she like leaves where her entire tribe was slaughtered, and she's going to go about just like surviving and battling her own demons. So it's going to be like a visualization of what these people who deal with the actual PTSD would actually have to go through to just lead a normal life. So it looks like it's going to be interesting. I have a lot of hope for this game, and really looking forward to seeing some actual a trailer at least. Gameplay would be even more phenomenal, but I think we'll at least see a trailer.
Okay, that sounds really cool. I think they announced it, I think, last year at Gamescom. I think it was on a Sony stage, so there is a good chance that we will see it again.
What sort of what is it like? Is it like a multiple choice sort of a narrative, or is it?
It's actually it's like it's third person. From what it looks like it's going to play like you would in Bloodborne, like that type of game. So I don't know. It doesn't look like it's going to be one of those. It doesn't look like it's going to be like an RPG style. It looks like it would just be like action oriented.
Right.
Maybe more towards like God of War.
Okay,
Interesting.
cool. That sounds really interesting. All right, we're going to go back to the one-stop shop for Sony news. Sam, what's your next one?
You're on top form as always, Paddy. I've only ever I've never really had any experience with PlayStation or Sony or whatever. The only game I've played is Spyro. So my prediction, therefore, is that there's going to be a new Spyro game. Yeah, I know, apparently Skylanders killed Spyro or something. I don't know, I don't pay attention to that. But, Spyro was pretty cool, and I'm not saying I would get a new PlayStation just to play Spyro, but I would certainly nick my brothers to play it. if Spyro were to come out. So I'm basically, it's not really a prediction, it's more of a hope that if any sort of classic PlayStation franchise gets revived, it will be Spyro.
Stay strong out there, Sam.
You're old. Spyro mean anything to you?
No. I have to admit, a 3D platformers.
He killed it again.
Just bored the fuck out of me.
Okay, so you weren't swayed by the purple little dragon?
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
That's a bit of a generation gap between us.
So
Like, as to what excites us.
Okay, Rob.
Pornhub.
UK.
Pornhub, that's pretty much what excites me.
When you're done talking about Pornhub, Rob, do you want to give us your next one?
I can certainly try. I reckon there's going to be a new IP from Square ENIX that is a set in space.
Set in space?
Yeah.
I have a feeling there's some kind of theme happening here. Am I the only
no,
one picking up on that?
No,
the theme is Sony.
Yeah,
True.
They're bound to do something in space. So I figure if I just keep naming random developers and say they're going to do a game like in space, well, eventually, I'll win.
Playing the numbers game.
Strategy, mate. Strategy.
Sour date.
So my next prediction is that The Last of Us 2, which was announced at PSX last year, makes absolutely no appearance whatsoever. We don't see anything about it. We don't hear anything about it. Naughty Dog, that's a long way out. And
that's because
they are
won't
busy
have time.
making games in space.
No,
we know,
yeah,
Rob.
exactly. That's because they're showing so much of their space game that no one will even care like about The Last of Us 2. No one will be like, what the hell? I don't even care. It's like, what's the point of this? Because it's not even in space.
Hey, don't they have a space game?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what people will be thinking.
Is that what it's going to be
now.
called as well? The space game.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, that does seem like the kind of deep narrative leaning title that they would go for. So it's emotive. It says exactly what it needs to say. And that's what I expect. All right, Alistair, over to you with your final prediction.
I mean,
for
I'm going to back up Rob here, and I'm going to make a lot of connections here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say Square Enix are going to make a game in space, but they're going to go for a Marvel route and either go for Guardians of the Galaxy, or my personal prediction, they're going to make an Avengers game. Because Square Enix they've had a partnership with Marvel. Marvel and Sony have always had this will they, won't they kind of dating thing. So I think Sony are going to get an Avengers game.
And do you think that's going to be exclusive, or do you think you're going to see it on the stage?
I'm not sure whether it will be exclusive because Marvel loves money.
You're just saying it's going
to
to be there. It's going to be on the stage.
I think it's going to be there, and I think if it is exclusive, it will definitely go Sony.
Okay, all right.
That's exciting.
Yeah, staying on the Marvel theme, swinging over to you, Rob, US. What's your final prediction?
My final prediction is going to be that we will see a new trailer for the up-and-coming Spider-Man game, and we're going to be looking at some villains, hopefully, with I'm looking at possibly Dr. Octopus, Electro, and I'm going to throw a curveball out there and say that there's going to be a new villain entered into this. I believe that they're going to maybe go with their own route and create their own new villain for Spider-Man to fight to kind of like liven things up a little bit.
Okay, and is this going to be the way that Rocksteady did it with Batman, and kind of it's a new villain, and then at the end it turns out to be the same villain? Spoilers for Batman Arkham, whatever it was.
No, I wouldn't go with them just because I played other games by the people that are developing Spider-Man, and I think that they're pretty good when it comes to making unique type of games, and I think that they would probably put a new twist on a new villain for Spider-Man to fight. Something that would be good just in the video game realm. Something that would be fun to fight.
Cool. Sounds good. Okay, and now Sam, tell us about what you think your final prediction would be.
My final prediction is that Sony is going to have a really awkward conference. I don't know why. I just feel I mean, if you look at the other conferences, right? Bethesda's never going to be awkward because you've got too many fanboys who will defend it and saying it's not awkward. EA can't be awkward because everyone hates EA anyways, and what's the other one? Ubisoft. Same story with Ubisoft, and yeah, that leaves either Microsoft or Sony. But I feel like Microsoft's been screwed over by Sony in the past, so PlayStation and Sony is therefore going to have an awkward conference this year. I'm hoping for robotic voices, maybe some strange dance moves, stuff not working.
You haven't watched the last 3 or 4 E3s, have you, mate?
No, I feel like now I need to say I've never watched any of these conferences before. So this is
You know what? It really doesn't show.
This is
really
my
doesn't
unique
show.
perspective coming
It's like
through.
me making predictions for the Super Bowl. You know, I've never watched American football or have a complete understanding of what they're doing.
As in, so it's just
Cowboys,
unfortunate because I don't know anything about Sony. I feel like Microsoft and like the other videos we're going to do, I have a bit more of an idea of what's going on. I don't follow Sony whatsoever.
No, that's fine.
I don't know if you could tell.
I mean, you're really holding your own though. So
I mean, the one thing I will say about your prediction in general, from my experience, even though I consider myself more like of an Xbox gamer than I do a PlayStation gamer, I'd say Sony have probably had the best conference for the past 3 to 4 years.
No, I know that much. So I'm saying like it's high time that they have an
well.
awkward conference.
Well, it's brave, it's out there, and I love it.
I hope it will be in VR.
That would be amazing. Rob, UK? Don't
Okay.
contradict yourself with this one, but go ahead.
Okay, so my final prediction for the Sony conference is there will not be a single game throughout the whole of the conference that will be set in a space.
So what you're basically doing is you're playing the field here. You're trying to get as many points as possible by, if there's nothing in space, if you were wrong on 2 counts, you at least get out of there with a single point.
I mean, obviously, I'm quite screwed if they obviously feature like a space game that's not either made by a Naughty Dog or like a Square Enix. Then
Which we all know is the space companies.
Yeah.
The space
Yeah.
developers.
So I might have slighted at myself by the fact that I can pretty much guarantee that I'm not going to get all 3 right. But just like a man who sort of every time he gets asked like head or tails always says heads, like eventually I think like I'll hit it. So
UK Rob always trying to get that head. Okay, well.
ta-da.
I
get it,
So
blowjobs.
funny.
That's funny.
All right, and my final prediction, and the final prediction of the show, is that the Sony show closes with Sucker Punch's new IP. We haven't seen anything from them since Infamous Second Son and Last Light DLC, so I think they're going to close out the show with something new. I'm not going to risk saying what kind of genre I think it is because I want these points.
Maybe
But
it'll be in
that's
space.
I mean, if it is in space, I will fucking laugh.
It'll
I'll tell you that
definitely
much.
be in space.
That'll be. Well, thank you for listening, everybody. That was Twisted Bard's Sony E3 prediction show. You can also find a Microsoft prediction show and a third-party and Nintendo prediction show over at youtube.com/twistedbard and a whole bunch of gaming stuff over at twistedbard.com. Say bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.